Let's bring in Dan Illouz, a member of Israel's Knesset with the ruling Likud party. Thank you very much for being here. I know that this is a very tense time in speaking about how to get the rest of those hostages home. As we heard from Robert, the president of Israel is saying he's ready for another humanitarian pause. Can you all pause at this time? And what is Prime Minister Netanyahu's stance on this?
I mean, we've been clear from the start that releasing the hostages is one of our main priorities in this war against Gaza. The other priority is to eradicate the evil Hamas regime from Gaza. We've had a pause in order to release over 100 hostages in the past, and the group that broke the deal that we had was Hamas, which brought us back into the war. So we've always been able and open to the idea of creating some type of pause in order to release more hostages. The ball is basically in the hands of Hamas in this sense, but on our side, we understand that the only thing that can motivate Hamas to get into this type of agreement is for us to keep military pressure on Hamas, because the more military pressure we put on them, the more they will want this pause, and the more they will be willing to come to such an agreement.
In terms of what Israel is willing to exchange for these hostages, what have you provided and what are you all willing to provide and put on the table again to get more people home? Right now, it looks like talks are in exchange for 40 hostages. That's much fewer than 100.
So I obviously won't negotiate with Hamas over the air. That's not how it's done. We don't do it in the media. We do it, as your reporter rightfully said, through intermediaries, because we also don't directly negotiate with Hamas, the terrorist group that also doesn't recognize Israel. But I will say one thing. We will not stop the war against Hamas because of this deal for these hostages, because we understand that after what happened on October 7th, and I just want to remind your viewers, because it's been a little bit more than 2 months, which isn't a long time, but unfortunately our memory as people is very short. This was one of the worst massacres that happened in the history of mankind. We're talking about 1,200 people that were killed, which is a huge number for a small country like Israel. But not only the number was horrible, but also the tactics used, the burning of babies, the raping of women and flaunting them around, the abduction of elderly. So for all these reasons, we cannot stop the war against Hamas. We have to continue till Hamas is completely eradicated. So that is not, we will not stop the war. We can do a certain temporary pause, but stopping the war is not an option.
Do you believe that the media has been fair at all in its portrayal of Jews and Israel, those living there, who have been very critical of Prime Minister Netanyahu, some who blame the Prime Minister for this war breaking out? Do you believe that there is a fair communication of what most Israelis believe about the fact that the war cannot stop, that the hostages must be returned home, and that you all have to destroy Hamas?
So I have to be honest, it depends on what media we're talking about. There's a lot of different types of media. There has been some media that has been very hostile to Israel. We can think of the BBC that took a very long time before they even agreed to call Hamas a terrorist organization, even as we knew what they did on October 7th. This was completely reprehensible. But there are also some media outlets which have been fair to Israel. When it comes to internal Israeli politics, I want to tell you, most of Israelis are completely united in the two goals of releasing the hostages and completely eradicating Hamas. And they want our leadership, including myself as a member of parliament, as a member of Knesset, to be completely focused on that, not to deal with politics, not to ask what will happen in the political world the day after. They want us to be laser focused on this mission, which is very important to the future of Israel and to the future of the free world, because we're talking about a terrorist group that can really threaten the whole free world afterwards. And so they want us laser focused. Afterwards, we'll deal with the politics. People will have to take responsibility for what happened. There will be some investigations done, but that will happen afterwards. Right now, we're laser focused only on the war.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.